Hey, yo, Josh, let me get a little bit of reverb. Yeah. J. Will. Yeah, I'm about that lifestyle. I talk green work, repping it all over. It's right on the t-shirt. Fan for a lifetime. Yeah, that's a long pass. Figure I would show some love right on the podcast. Turn this up loud and make sure you don't do nothing else. Cause if you're listening to us, then you're improving your health. My name is J. Will. Welcome to the show, yeah. Wrestle, flow, 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 yeah.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Wrestling Reverb after the week's break. If you haven't listened to my other couple of shows before this week, then welcome back. You're back in the wrestling world with myself, and of course, Kevin is here. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Josh. Good to be back in the saddle again.
We are back, and we got a lot to tackle this week. There is a lot happening in the wrestling world. Excuse me. It's been a pretty significant week in wrestling, so we're ready to get back into the swing of things and everything that happens with everything with wrestling. So I don't even think it's necessary to waste any time. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's go to the start of the week and let's go to Money in the Bank, hey, because that was a wild show. Man, let's just talk about the Money in the Bank ladder match itself, because that thing there's a lot to break down. And I've been waiting to give my full thoughts on it for this show. And I'm assuming you watched it, Kevin?
Yes, that is correct. And literally, like, the only gripe I had with the actual ladder match is that it had to end. I wish it was still going. I wish it was still going now. I think it was perfect. I literally
wrong with it. Nothing. I can't think of any. Like, it had every element of wrestling that I like.
Yeah, it had a little bit of something for everybody. It had the comedy. It had some good spots. It had even at the end there, you got more of the traditional Money in the Bank ladder match type of feel with the end. But like, just the journey up the building from room to room and food fights and grabbing the wrong briefcase and everything was
cameo
just
appearances
unreal.
and I mean,
oh my God.
everything. Okay, so I don't know if this is gonna shock you at all or anybody at all, but my favorite spot in that match, which I was laughing throughout the entire thing. I thought it was hilarious, but in the best way. Like, my favorite spot out of that entire match was when Dana Brooke slipped over on the wet floor.
That was a tough looking bump. She looks like she hit her head pretty hard.
I was like, oh my God. I was literally like howling at that. I was like, this is amazing. This is the best thing I've ever seen.
That was good. That was good. I love that the janitor in the background was wearing a hat that said, "I used to be over."
I've watched that match like a lot. I've watched that match 4 or 5 times at this stage. And I find something new about when Asuka's in the elevator just dancing. Oh
my God. That, like, literally right off the bat, like, everyone's getting together, and like, you just see Asuka up on like the balcony or whatever. Right from there, she's like dancing and singing and shit, and you're like, oh boy. And then the bell rings and she just jumps.
The music they used in these different stages just was hilarious. Some of it was the best music. The food fight was great. I love the interactions between the two matches, if you want to call it 2 separate matches, I guess. I love the interaction throughout of it. Like, something I really noticed watching it more and more was Daniel Bryan was having the time of his life.
Oh my God. I literally, right from when he walks into like the little weight room at the beginning and he's smiling, he's like, "Are you guys ready for a fight?" I imagine because obviously they probably did a couple different takes of some different things. And I imagine part of that was he was probably just laughing his ass off the whole time. Especially like when him and AJ went into Vince's office. How do you know some of that? How do you keep a straight face?
That was just perfect. The way that like Vince turned around, he's like, "What the hell are you doing in here?" And then they cleaned the chairs up and that.
Like, and then they walk out and AJ's like, "You were like a coward in there." And Daniel's just like, "You made us put the chairs back."
It was really, really, that everything about that match was just, I loved it. From I know the only people, some people, well, for the most part, I actually seen Twitter kind of being like, this was amazing, but everyone kind of seemed to agree on the fact that they didn't love the food fight. I liked the food fight. I thought it was cheesy and corny, and the whole match kind of was to me. So I was just like, this is fine. It fits in there fine. I really have nothing to complain about that match. And I mean, I was not completely surprised to see Asuka win, but I was like, okay, cool. Like, fuck yeah, finally. Asuka's going to be Money in the Bank. We'll talk about what happened in a minute after that. But I was like, good, we get Asuka. Like, I thought Shayna was a shoo-in, to be completely honest, but I was fine. Asuka has been the best part about WWE programming since we've gone into this PC era. So I was more than happy to see Asuka win. And then I think the shocker of us all, we had that had it in the back of our minds, like maybe Otis will win. He seems kind of odd, but I don't think anyone actually picked Otis to win this match, and the way he won it, I literally went, holy fuck, Otis just won.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't. I mean, I actually did think, I thought Asuka was gonna win. I didn't think Shayna was. I think Shayna's gonna get the belt, obviously, but I didn't think that this was a way for her to do it. I thought they're gonna have her just be like a dominant, kick-ass, challenger.
Yeah.
But oh my god, like, and it's smart. Like, Otis is like the hottest dude in the world right now.
Yeah. And there's so many lanes you could go down with this too.
Yeah, and they still played up the spot where he breaks the ladder. He didn't actually have to climb it. It sort of just fit. I think that's like the perfect metaphor for Otis's career. Is that the briefcase just literally fell right into his hands?
Yeah, honestly, it's like, I don't know. I just really appreciated the end to that match because it made it more surprising than him just climbing up. And I know they teased that he couldn't climb it up and whatever. I just really like the spot of that match. I mean, we have to talk about the fact that at the time of watching, we thought Baron Corbin had killed Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black because he threw them off the top of a building.
Oh my god, it was so... It's funny, right? So I didn't watch the show live because I had a Mother's Day dinner, and then I was watching the Michael Jordan documentary. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to really check Twitter, but at some point I did because, I just wanted to see what people were saying. And there was a Twitter, you know how they have like the moments on Twitter?
Yeah.
So there was one, and I screenshotted it because I thought it was like the funniest thing. And it literally just says, after Money in the Bank, fans left wondering if two wrestlers are even still alive. And I saw that, and I was like, "Oh my god, someone died!"
That's amazing. I mean, that was the part of the Money in the Bank ladder matches that I liked, was just the fact that we were questioning if people were still living.
Yeah, he just chucked them both off the roof.
The way they was like falling over. Oh, another great spot that my sister freaking howled at. She watched it a little bit later. I'm like, I've got to show Shaylee this because it's just completely and utterly ridiculous. And she's sitting there when Lacey Evans punched Carmella in the throat.
Oh man, Lacey Evans just sort of like appear around corners and just know the women's right. Everyone had like a signature spot. All 12 people across the board had like something where. Even like right at the beginning when Corbin tried to hit, I think it was he tried to hit Bryan with the weight, and Bryan ducked it, and he shattered the glass. And he just looked like, oh my god, I'm gonna owe them so much money.
Yeah, that's what Shaylee said too. She's like, is that gonna come out of his contract? I'm like,
that was my thought. He looks like scared.
But. And like Brother Love was there, and I was like, "Oh yes!" I was like,
"Yeah, you had Brother Love, you had John Laurinaitis."
Oh, that one! People power. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Mr. Bella. He's here." I just loved everything about that. It made me just genuinely so happy. The whole show, actually, for one, it went for about 2.5 hours, which is a nice welcomed.
Oh my god! Change. Yeah, there was. I had no drag. Like when we got to the Money in the Bank ladder match, I was like, I wasn't like timing it or anything, but I was like, it's been like I don't think it's even been 2 hours at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, they said that this is like the shortest WWE pay-per-view since I think December to Dismember.
Yeah. Whoa. Let's not talk about that. Let's move on from that one. It's it was like a welcomed change. I'm not saying that, you know me, I'm not real big on like, if it's long, I'll still watch it. But obviously when a show's shorter and like they put in that, there wasn't anything bad on that show. Nothing was bad. The whole show was really good. I really liked the 4-way tag match at the beginning of the show. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Great.
I was a little bit upset that the Machine Tamina didn't quite get it done, but hey, Tamina
Oh,
got
you
an
wanna-
opportunity. And
You want to hear something funny?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so like I said, I did at some point break and check Twitter, and the only thing I really got spoiled for me, or so I thought, someone that's not affiliated with the WWE tweeted out a picture of Tamina holding the belt and said Tamina's your new women's champion, and I was like, wow. So the whole time I'm watching this match between her and Bayley, I'm thinking, I wonder how she's gonna do it, and like I wonder how I feel about it, and then Bayley beats her, and I was like, oh shit.
I mean,
I got fooled. I got fooled.
Poor Tamina. She's just. Hey, they didn't have a bad match. I thought it was an okay showing for Tamina. She's really never really had too much of an opportunity, so you know it is what it is. But I really didn't think Tamina was going to win. Let's be honest. But they're just kind of playing up to the fact of we're eventually going to get Banks and Bayley. It seems like that's where they're building, and they're doing a very nice slow build to it, which I appreciate a lot.
Yeah.
So we're holding off on this, but there's so many layers to that. So I'm more than happy to.
Yeah, it was good. If Tamina and Bayley was like the weakest match on the card, then that's a pretty good place to be. Yeah. Unless you count the R-Truth, Bobby Lashley.
Oh, that doesn't count. I'm not even going to talk about that. That doesn't even count. That whatever. Did you watch the kickoff?
No, actually, I didn't.
Jeff Hardy was fighting Cesaro, and Jeff looks good.
Oh, that's a money match,
You know when Jeff got injured originally after the initial return, and then come back, and he was kind of like always gassed. It was like, Jesus, Jeff doesn't look gassed.
That's good. I mean, I'm sure part of that, and we saw, he was gone for an extended period of time, partially because of injury, but he also was. He was still fighting some demons.
Yeah.
Exercising those probably helps a lot.
Yep.
He's probably you might be in as good a shape as he's been in some time.
Of course, he's still not. He's not. I'm not saying he's 2003 Jeff Hardy running around, but like for what we've seen, I noticed that I was like, Jeff looks a little less gassed than before, and he looks better. And we could be onto a nice little. He wants one more run, and you know what? I'll put it out there. I would like to see Jeff Hardy as world champion just once more.
Yeah, I would. Oh, I don't think you have anyone who wouldn't like that. I mean, maybe like hardcore. Oh, don't put the title on the older guys, people. But it's not like Jeff is like like a Goldberg or someone where they're like they were of an era long ago and they sort of just trotted them out. Jeff's been consistently wrestling the entire time.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm not saying he has to be champion for 12 months, but I'm just saying like a nice little run where he gets a few opponents in there, works with a few different people. Is it too much for me to ask that before Jeff retires, I'd just like to see him fight Seth Rollins?
Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean,
I would be down with
especially that. Like. Oh man, this might be the perfect time with Rollins' the Monday Night Messiah gimmick playing into Jeff's troubled past. I know we've sort of seen that before with Punk, but I think Rollins is doing a really good. The promo Rollins cut on this show before his match, I thought was really good, and the video package highlighting the stuff between Seth and Drew was really good. And that match was also really good.
Yeah, that match was really well. You're not going to expect anything less from those two.
No, but like honestly, as someone who's never been crazy about Drew McIntyre, this is the best I've ever seen him do.
He's a good champion. He really is.
He's a good champion,
especially in this time. I think he's perfect.
Yeah, and then
he really knows how to work a no crowd. It's weird to say, but he knows how to do it.
I love, and I've said this before, but I love the story. Like he even said it talking to Charlie before the match where he's like, I look like a Goliath, but my story is very David-esque, the ups and downs. Yeah. And that's like a really good way to play it because he's this big dude, but you play up the insecurities and sort of getting fired, getting released, let go, and all that shit. It's a good way to play it up and to make him seem like an underdog, even as the bigger opponent in most of his matches.
Yeah, he's a big dude, but he's an underdog. He's one of a kind. He is very good. He's making me a fan of him, which I wasn't necessarily.
Exactly. I think that's my main takeaway is that I'm warming up to Drew McIntyre for sure.
I'm enjoying this title reign more and more every day, which is a good thing. Seth Rollins, I think has always been great. His work rate is a step above pretty much everybody else. And I think when you're in there with Seth Rollins, you're not going to get a bad performance, just plain and simple. So it was a recipe for success, and they did great, and I love the way it ended. I really just did appreciate that we had the handshake. Of course, we'll talk about what happened with Seth in a minute, but the whole show was just really good from top to bottom. It didn't feel like it dragged at all. It was obviously shorter, and it ended in the right way. We got two very happy endings in Asuka and Otis, so I'm more than thrilled. Now, obviously, Money in the Bank kind of happened, and then, well, I woke up, of course, because Raw's on it in the morning for me, and I was like, Becky Lynch to make a major announcement, and then the internet went absolutely to one spot and one spot only, and that was that she is pregnant. Now, I put out a tweet before Raw. We'll talk about the actual announcement in a minute, but I just basically said that why is it that whenever a woman has an announcement, it's automatically everyone's like, she's pregnant. I wasn't saying that she wasn't, and I wasn't saying that that's not maybe a thought in my brain, but I was just saying maybe we should just wait before everyone starts planning ahead for something that really has nothing to do with them. Maybe we should just wait and be like, wait till Becky says it, and then we can start going, oh, what happens with this? What happens? That's all I said. And of course, Twitter, have a tweet that does literally no numbers, and then this tweet just caught fucking fire. And everyone was not everybody. For the most part, most of my following was not dragging me. They were respectfully disagreeing, or they were agreeing, whatever. That doesn't... You're allowed to disagree and agree. That doesn't matter to me. But there were people that were calling me names, and I was just like, fuck this. Anyway, so the tweet was up. I was actually recording with Queen at the time while everyone was just kind of coming for my neck. And then obviously Becky started Raw and announces that she's going to be a mother in a really, really, a really great, wholesome segment. And then Asuka, of course, become the new Raw Women's Champion. And that's when I was just like, y'all are nasty. I'm deleting this tweet. We won't even talk about any of that anymore because it's just like, whatever. But Becky's going to be a mum, and she's basically come out right and said, she goes, I don't know if I'll ever wrestle again. Now, in my brain, I don't think the performing side of Becky Lynch would let her last match be in front of no fans. But,
yeah,
hey, priorities do shift, and wrestling is not her priority anymore. It's starting a family and being a mother. And guess what? At the end of the day, that is way bigger than wrestling, and it's way more important than a predetermined fight inside of a wrestling ring at the end of the day. So I'm more than excited for Becky and Seth, and they've got some good genes. They're going to have a very nice looking baby, I'm pretty sure. So,
it's going to be a good looking baby. Hopefully it has somewhat of an Irish accent. It's going to be
CrossFit. It'll probably do a cartwheel.
It's going to be kid's going to be a phenomenal wrestler someday.
Oh my god!
If the child chooses that path, I feel like they might not have much of a choice. But this was a really well done segment, wasn't it? It was
Asuka's reaction, dude, was so
oh
genuine.
my god, Asuka it almost like
I don't think they told Asuka. I don't think Asuka knew.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, it was so genuine. How she was kind of like playing up, like, "Oh, I'm the new champion." Oh, like kind of being all cocky about it. And then Becky dropped that, you be a warrior. I'm gonna be a mother line. And Asuka's face
is gonna go into the. That's gonna be.
That is a great line. There are good lines in wrestling. There's also bad lines. That is like a really, really good line.
That'll go into like the quoting of WWE's history. That'll be a moment they look back on and stuff like that. And Asuka was just like, a mother? And then like kind of hugged, and then the Becky. I just like, yes. And you could tell Becky and Asuka are friendly or very close friends because the way that reaction just happened. But it was just so heartwarming. I was like, that's beautifully done, and the way that it happened. And not only that, we get Becky is now going into motherhood, and that's fantastic. But on the other side of things, the wrestling fan of me was like, holy fuck yes, Asuka is the Raw Women's Champion. There's no one in this era that has earned it more than that woman.
Oh my God, yeah. We just said it. In this era, like, no one has been better than man, woman, inanimate object. No one's been better than Asuka.
Nope.
She has taken this pretty shitty situation and parlayed it into the women's championship. She's been that good.
Yeah. And let's be honest,
obviously,
wrestling...
she probably would have won the belt at some point anyway if they had designs to make her Miss Money in the Bank prior to this. I don't know. We'll never know. But she certainly took the ball and ran with it, and now she's the champion.
God. Yeah, and let's be honest, we'll call a spade here, Kev. Wrestling without fans is not great, and we've never claimed it to be great, but it can be good, and it can be great, but it takes a lot to be great, and Asuka has made it almost like, I don't think that would have worked as well if there was fans, to be completely honest. I think it would have got a little bit lost. I think Asuka has made the most of this, like Drew, and others, but wrestling isn't the same, and there would never be a time where I'm like, I would prefer wrestling with no fans to fans, because I just think it isn't the same. However, there is shining moments of this PC era, and honestly, in a few years' time, I'm going to look back on this era pretty fondly, because I've enjoyed it. It's
going to be like, it's going to be something where we look back and we're like, this was something that they could have folded. They could have, put the cards down, took a break, not done this, not done that. They could have, just left fans sort of out to dry. And I wouldn't have blamed them I wouldn't have blamed the WWE if they said, we're going to take a break, a hiatus, and come back when everything's back to normal. I wouldn't have blamed them at all. I don't think a lot of people would have. But I'm not mad that they sort of, they've done it in a way where, you're not packing fans into an arena. You're not really risking anybody. I imagine the competitors have all been tested because, you do have a couple people in the ring at the same time. The court, especially that tag match on Money in the Bank, did have like 12 people in the ring. But it's going to be something where, like, remember when there were no fans? Remember when they had to, their backs were against the wall and they put on for the people? And I think we're all going to be really appreciative of this era years down the road.
Yeah, I honestly agree. I think it's going to be looked back very fondly. And something that I did look very fondly over in a very different aspect was Seth Rollins' performance on Raw. I genuinely loved it because it's just a different layer, and I mean, he looked like he'd seen a ghost, and given the circumstances around what's going on in his life, the memes were everywhere, but he played it really well, like the hair and just the demeanor and the body language, everything, and then just snapped. And I mean, bad week to be Rey Mysterio. Someone tried to throw him off a building, and then someone tried to gore out his eye. Not a great week to be your favorite wrestler.
I'll say it. I'm pissed.
But Seth did a great, he can turn that on. Like, he has layers.
Yeah, it was great. And Ray's such a great foil for Seth too. He's such like the wholesome good guy, and I think that and obviously those two in a match together, which I imagine we'll get at some point one-on-one down the road, is going to be so good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's almost impossible not to be. They're so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, and Seth desperately needs
Ray, throwing off roofs and gouged out eyeballs. And,
Seth was going nuts. He desperately needs a win, doesn't he? Seth needs a win badly.
Oh yeah. He does. And Ray's like, that's a big win. I don't care what year it is. You're beating Rey Mysterio, you're beating an all-time great.
Who's still Hall of Famer.
Yeah, who's still very, very close to the top of his game.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think Seth and Ray could create a lot of fun together. I would assume that that'd be the plan for Backlash. We know we got Edge and Randy now in a straight up wrestling match, which guess what? I'm here for. I'm ready to see Edge take pinfall.
Imagine how good you have to be as like a pitch man of sorts to just basically say we're gonna have a straight up wrestling match and get people to be like, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it's been so long since we've seen Edge in a standard wrestling role, because we've seen him obviously at the Rumble and then Last Man Standing. They're different. They're not straight up. I want to see Edge going for pinfalls, getting pinned, submission. I want to just see the standard DQs, countouts. I just want to see Edge in that environment.
Oh man, there is nothing I would love more than to see a nice old count out. and I say that
they did a fantastic job, and then Charlie had to come over and make it weird.
Yeah, I say that partially in jest, but like, it's true. We haven't seen Edge in a regular old wrestling match in 9 years. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then, just kudos to the both of them for putting this over as something that we could, it's hard to go from a last man standing match to a regular match and not vice versa. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty psyched for it. I mean, Edge is a great wrestler.
Yeah. Me too. I'm very ready for it. Charlie said that it's going to be the greatest wrestling match ever, and I was like, "Oh boy, Charlie, what do you?" That's
it's best to ignore that, because if you saddle those expectations, you'll be disappointed. But it's going to be good.
Hey,
it's going to be
technically
fun.
It could be. We don't know, but I mean,
it could be.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. What
Maybe
else
if they
happened
have
on
it in
Raw?
the Tokyo Dome, it'll be the greatest match ever.
Oh yeah, Dave Meltzer would love that. So what else happened on Raw? Let me scratch my brain. We covered Seth, we covered Becky, we covered Asuka, we covered Edge.
You sure you're not missing something or somebody?
Happened, I'm just trying to. I think it's come to me. Something happened, and it was IIconic. It was so fucking good, dude. You've seen my videos. Everyone's seen my videos. I was just living my wildest dreams. My favorite people are back. And now they're going for the Women's Tag Team Championships next week. And I'm gonna poo my pants. It's this like the best thing ever. They're my favorite people. And they're just so great. And they're iconic. And they're no longer the future anymore, people. They're just iconic. Because they're the present. They're the now. And I don't know about you, Kevin, but I am genuinely excited because I think they have a pretty high chance of winning those tag team championships next week and having the reign they deserved in the first place.
It's very possible. Yeah, I mean, every time I see the IIconics, I think of you. Not that I don't like them, but like no one likes them the way you like them. Have you
noticed though? I noticed when they come back, I seen a lot of IIconics love all over Twitter. I was like, y'all didn't like them this much this time last year. I didn't feel.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, though. That's the case for literally everybody.
I got so many tweets, by the way. That music hit, and my notification was like Queen, and then everybody else, it was just like, someone check on Josh, is he okay? And I'm like, I was just typing letters because I couldn't form sentences.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I was sitting there, I was working, just sort of keeping tabs on Raw, and then the group DM started popping off, and I saw it was you popping off with gibberish, and I was like, oh boy,
something's happening.
And I kind of knew it was. I kind of knew it was happening before I even got to like see it. But no, I think this is a big welcome back. I think that the IIconics are like the women's tag team.
Samoa Joe said that on commentary this week. He said they're actually a tag team. They are better together than they are apart. Bliss and Nikki are honestly a good little unit, but Bliss is probably better apart than together.
As good as Bliss has been with Nikki Cross, and as someone who didn't think it would work, I'm prepared to eat crow. As good as they've been, like Bliss is a 5-time women's champion on her own. She's one of the greats of this era as a singles competitor. Not that this is a step down because she's still a champion, but she's not. Arguably, she's probably not as hot as she was.
No.
Nikki Cross, on the other hand, has turned this into a golden opportunity. But the IIconics are like a tried and true unit. They've been together since like day one almost. I can't even remember a time. You'd have to go back to NXT, of course. I can't even remember a time where they weren't together.
Yeah. They're always the iconic duo. And then
They
the
really are
IIconics.
so good. Like they're annoying and they're grating on you and
They're
just
so good. I just love them so much. They're my favorite things in wrestling. If people ask me who my favorite wrestlers are, it's them two. It's not a single unit of those two. It's just them two together. I don't want to ever see them separated. I just want them always together. And I think they have a good chance. And they have a new finisher. It's like a reverse magic killer.
they look pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I was like, okay, well, they haven't, it's actually been since November since they were on screen. November.
It feels like longer, honestly, but that's probably because the last couple of months have been the longest in recorded human history.
Yeah, we're still in, what is it, like the 87th day of March at this point, I'm pretty sure. So,
Oh my god, March just like I try to rip the page off the calendar and it's stuck.
oh man, it's just, it's been a month. But yeah, they've been away and I'm just so genuinely happy. And I mean, I tweeted this during NXT. Are Australians just taking over WWE? There's a lot of them running around and they're all doing good things. Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink, they're doing great stuff. They're now like associated with that MVP stuff and they got a win over like Cedric and Ricochet a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, okay, you do you. And then we've got, of course, Indy Hartwell. She was on NXT this week. She fought your lovely lady, Tegan Knox, in a great little showing. Tegan, of course.
Oh my god! I mean, Indy Hartwell. From what I know about her before coming here, I mean, nothing but good things. Obviously, Tegan Knox is like the greatest of all time. So you make magic. What you make do with what you have. Obviously, they weren't going to go out there and put on a 25-minute mat classic for you NXT. But like they took their time and they made they took the lemons and they made lemonade. Exactly. Really good lemonade. That's lemonade.
Pink lemonade.
That's my favorite lemonade.
Okay, fair. And then of course Murphy is doing stuff with Seth. Poor Murphy at this point because I think he's probably going to get beat up by Seth at some point in this crazy rage. And obviously Rhea's doing. Well, Rhea's Rhea, and Rhea's been doing great. And speaking of Rhea, actually, and speaking of NXT, NXT in your house.
NXT in your house.
That's just nostalgic overdrive. It's just the best thing ever. What, June 7th or something like that, I believe it is.
I believe it's June 7th, which is good because it's not too far away because I'm looking forward to it. We haven't seen I mean this would be the first, I guess, this would be the first takeover without a crowd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I believe it is. And not only that, the fact that it's called In Your House and they made the logo like nostalgic and all beautiful, and I was just like, yes, please. We haven't had an In Your House since I believe 98.
Sounds right. And it's one of like those everyone remembers something about. Obviously, they were it was a series, but like everyone remembers something about In Your House. Canadian Stampede is like one of the great pay-per-views.
St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Woohoo!
Yeah,
a cage match with Paul White debuting. Paul White.
It's Paul White.
It's Paul White. And like that bump that Vince took off the cage was gnarly.
Oh my god, it looks like he broke his ass.
Yeah, that might have been. Was that the last In Your House?
That was the last In Your House. I actually saw that on Twitter. What a good way to go out, I guess.
Was that 97 or 98?
That was 98,
That was 98.
I could be wrong.
I think it was 98 because that sounds about right because Big Show, the Giant, was in WCW in 97, I believe. Unless it was 96 that I'm thinking of. I don't know, but
I think it was
February. It was Valentine's.
It was February, yeah.
Whether it was,
it was In Your House. In Your House is like everyone. It's such a nostalgic favorite of people. No one has anything bad to say about the In Your House shows.
It's just that
nice.
That name carries so much to us, and it's perfect for NXT because NXT has that kind of has elements of old wrestling mixed with today's world, and I think it will be it'll be a lot of fun to see that kind of. I just hope they have some kind of an In Your House set of some kind of, but I don't know how they're going to do it, but they can do it. They can do it. I know they can do it.
They'll figure it out. NXT.
It's NXT. They're great. But obviously we're building towards some kind of, I believe it will be some kind of triple threat with Rhea and Io and Charlotte Flair, which.
Oh man, just take my money.
I mean, and literally to me, there's no wrong way to go. Anyone can win, and I'll be a very happy person.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love Charlotte. I think Charlotte is, how I am about Charlotte. I think Charlotte is one of the greatest people within that company, man or woman. I don't think there's too many people with more star quality than her. Rhea Ripley, obviously. I love Rhea. And Io, who I think is the greatest, hands down, just on a wrestling scale, is the best in the world. I think that. I truly do.
I know. You've said it. You've said it multiple times. And I don't have any reason to. I don't really have any I don't think I could really discredit that. I mean, she's so good time and time again. She's always been for
that woman
so long.
That woman, I never see. If she does make mistakes, I certainly don't see it.
I think she's probably, if she does, she just makes them look really good, and that's the mark
how
of
it was meant to go. You know what I mean? Like it's just flowing, and she's just so good. I mean,
some wrestlers could do that.
I mean, I don't know. We haven't got that match announced, but that's just what I'm assuming. It could easily be 1-on-1, but I'm pretty certain that next week Io and Rhea are fighting, so they'll have something with Charlotte Flair comes out and beats them up or something, and then like, I'm not fighting anyone, fuck you, and then Regal's like, nah, you're gonna fight both of them, and then we'll get a killer triple threat out of it. Absolutely wonderful. But regardless, anything that Charlotte Flair's in is great, so I'm gonna watch it. Obviously I'll be watching that show anyway. I don't know where Adam Cole's going. I guess maybe I don't know. Seems like Finn is now occupied with one Damian Priest. Gargano and LeRae seem to be going after Keith Lee and Mia Yim. I don't know what's there for Adam Cole. Is Velveteen still in the mix? Then we got Dexter Loomis running around. I know NXT's really been really good lately. Not that it ever wasn't.
I freaking love Dexter Loomis.
Oh, me too. His eyes and that mustache is like
he's got
creepy.
It's the face. Mm-hmm. He just has something about him, and I remember him from TNA or Impact or whatever you want to call it when he was Sam Shaw, and.
Oh yeah,
that guy I kind of watched. I'm not on a regular, but on a semi-regular basis was watching Impact, and he was so good then too. And it never really took off with him. That's not really. I don't think that's his fault. I think that was just the wrong time for him. But yeah, he's so good. Yeah,
he is his in betweens is what I love the most. Like he'll be in that. Kind of hold, it's like an anaconda vice. It's a variation of an anaconda vice, and then he holds on and then like holds them and like looks around, and you're like, holy fuck, this is creepy. And the way he like crawls in and how he just appears out of nowhere in so many places, and he was just standing in the background. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? It's the eyes. It is the eyes. It's got this piercing blue, and it's like
crazy friggin' eyes.
And you can't not, when I see him on the screen, I look directly into his eyes. And I don't do that with everybody. But I look directly into his eyes and I'm like, holy fuck, that's creepy as all hell. Because he stares. Like, he's got that.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got that. You can't look away. You can't miss him.
It's weird.
You don't miss the thing he does.
The gloves and the music and just, it's creepy. I'm into it, though. I'm into it. Are you into Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae as heels?
I don't know if I've really made up my mind yet, honestly. I mean, I don't think I think that that's different especially for Candice, because since she's arrived here, she's just been like the cupcake and the world's cutest tag team even before NXT with Joey Ryan. Like, she was always in my eyes really been like a fan favorite, and I don't know if she's gonna necessarily get booed because she's so likable. And Johnny too, to an extent. Like, they're both very likable people, but I don't know. It's different. It's unique. I'd like to see where they go. I mean, Johnny and Keith would be great, and Mia and Candice would also be very great. And I imagine if that's the direction, you'll get a mixed tag, and mixed tags usually have pretty fun moments in them. You see a little mixing up of the genders every now and again, which is always fun.
And Candice LeRae's new finish is basically a really cool version of a curb stomp, and I'm into it because it looks disgusting, and I'm really, I'm down with that. Something I'm not down with, which was no surprise to you, how much I love Robert Stone and Chelsea Green, but the addition of the possibility of adding Aaliyah to that is just, it's conflicting with my emotions so much.
Aaliyah is the all-time greatest at just hanging on and cashing paychecks.
She's been there for so long. I never ever say this. You'll never hear me say this about anybody else, but Aaliyah just downright sucks. I can't stand her.
Aaliyah, I don't really know what she brings to the table. I mean, she's not really a good wrestler. She's not really a good promo. She's not really she doesn't jump off your screen at you. And yes, she's been there longer than just about anybody.
She's been in NXT before NXT was even a thing. I feel like she was just waiting. I'm here. And it's like, what? How?
Yeah,
I never shit on wrestlers at all because what am I to say? I don't know. I've never wrestled before. But just, man, oh man, I can't help myself with this one. It's the only time I'm ever just like, I just don't understand any appeal about you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody owes her money, or maybe she's blackmailing somebody. But
I don't understand it. But just that, oh man, I'm just like, I love Robert Stone so much, and I love Chelsea Green so much. But do not add Aaliyah to this because I don't think I'll like it.
No, I don't. This is going to be a true test of Robert Stone's ability, I guess, as a manager.
Oh man,
I do like the Stone Green tandem. Even though I think Green would be good on her own, but I don't hate the tandem. I think they're both pretty good. Yeah, I guess this is it's sink or swim time for the whole group. That's the thing is that Aaliyah might bring the whole thing down, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of because I don't think I like Chelsea and Robert enough to. I think my dislike of Aaliyah outweighs it, to be completely honest. So I think I'm just going to be like, well, I don't like this anymore. But I guess I'm not meant to, at the end of the day. Our heels. So I guess I'm not meant to like it. So maybe Aaliyah's the perfect piece of the puzzle for that. I don't know.
Maybe. But Aaliyah was a face for a long time.
Was she? Okay. I'm honestly... Oh, yeah, she was called the Cat's Meow for a little while.
Yeah, I definitely remember. Well, first off, I remember her being a pretty big part of Breaking Ground.
Yeah.
And I think they tried to play off of that and try to, because she had a pretty good story, and she was trying her hardest. And I think they tried to parlay that into some success by getting people to root for her, and no one did.
Rough. Breaking Ground was great.
Breaking Ground was really good.
Yeah, I really liked Breaking Ground. But yeah, Aaliyah just a big fat no for me. How do you feel about the true colors of one Timothy Thatcher? I mean, I was like, okay, he seems like a natural heel to me that's just going to beat the shit out of people. So, and I never used to like Matt Riddle. I think I was pretty clear about that, but I've come around to Matt Riddle so much. I think Matt Riddle's actually pretty damn great. Which is what a story, what a journey. I've come around to him. Maybe it will happen with Aaliyah one day.
Oh man, putting Matt Riddle and Aaliyah in the same group of thought is tough.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
Well, bro, I don't know. Tim beat the shit out of him though.
Oh, that's what Tim Thatcher's always done, and I'm not surprised. It was bound to happen. I mean, I didn't think that Riddle and Thatcher were destined to be together.
They were good together though. The dynamic worked.
For that matter, I honestly didn't see much of a long-term thing for Riddle and Dunn. I mean, they were good together too, though. But obviously circumstances have prevented Pete Dunne from making the trip. So Tim Thatcher was a more than solid replacement for a minute there. But now we just get to see two dudes beat the shit out of each other, and they're both very, I guess old school in their wrestling technique,
Yeah, they bring a level of that to
especially Thatcher.
Yeah, especially Thatcher, and I just really like that dynamic, and I really liked him. I that's not a character I'm usually drawn towards in wrestling. I never have been. That just ass kicking, mean, I'm gonna beat you up kind of character. I find those characters genuinely quite boring. But I'm really into Tim. I'm really into him. I'm really like him a lot. I don't know what it is about him, but I just really like him. So I'm excited for that, and where that goes. So, and wait for Pete Dunne to come back. Whew.
Yeah, that's like the piece of the puzzle we don't see yet is, where does Pete fit in when he comes back? Does he get back with Riddle? Is he mad that he got replaced? Is he mad that the titles got lost?
Yeah.
Shout out to Eichner and Barthel, who I friggin' love.
Yeah,
I
I
love
really like
Imperium.
Imperium.
I'm such an Imperium guy.
Yeah, me
I don't know
too.
what it is. Obviously,
It's the music.
they're all great wrestlers.
music.
I'm glad Alexander Wolf went from being like a clown. Not that he wasn't good in Sanity. He was probably my favorite part of Sanity. But like now he's just like this straight-laced guy. It's crazy. I love the transformation.
Yeah.
And Walter obviously is Walter. He's so good. But like I love Eichner and Barthel.
Yeah, I really do like Imperium. There's something about them as well that I can't quite put my finger on why I like them, but I just really like them, and it's just really fun. I'm just scrolling Twitter as we're kind of talking, just in case I'm missing anything here. But I'll circle back to Asuka for a minute, because you know how there's always going to be people like Asuka's been buried. Asuka's not the same as she was. She's a shell of herself. She was an ass kick in NXT. All of that chatter, right? No matter what she's doing, she's holding the Raw Women's Championship and people are still like, there. There's this picture, and you've probably seen it around. Asuka has been Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion, Women's Tag Team Champion, Women's Money in the Bank ladder match winner, winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, inaugural Mixed Match Challenge winner, and a sole survivor at Survivor Series. No other woman in history has ever done that.
Buried.
Yeah, buried, hey? Every time someone's right, I want to save this photo, and I feel like I'm just gonna be like, yeah, she's definitely buried.
Yeah, I mean,
and said in betweens, of course, but Asuka's never been an afterthought. I don't think.
No, and you can't. It's like almost impossible to be on top the whole time.
Exactly. You know what the really good thing about Becky being gone is that now the rest of the women's division has a chance to step up.
Yeah,
because Asuka and Shayna is the inevitable match. I think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen right away, though. Asuka needs to get a few wins under her belt before Shayna. Shayna and Asuka could be SummerSlam, in my opinion, and I think it could be great. And I think that could be a place where Shayna takes the championship. But I think Asuka, it gives an opportunity now, because Becky was so far above anyone not named maybe Charlotte. Charlotte was probably the only one that was close to Becky in terms of just overall appeal and just being the star that Becky is. Now it gives an opportunity for the Ruby Riots of the world, Liv Morgans, the list goes, Natty, and I would like to see Natty and Asuka. That would be fun to me, to be completely honest.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. Natty's
and Asuka and Ruby and Asuka can work with so many people. But now this is an opportunity for the other women to get a time. And with this brand to brand invitational, which I don't know, it seems like it's done a little. It should have been how the wildcard rule was done last year. It seems like they're explaining it a little more. Like, no, this person is from SmackDown, but they've been invited here, and it seems to be on a little bit more of a minimal scale. It's not just like, oh, they're going for titles and blah 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 blah. Like, if you noticed on Raw, like they hyped it up as Raw's Drew McIntyre versus SmackDown's King Corbin. Like they actually hyped it around that, and it seems like if they're gonna go this route, especially in this time when we're not really getting fans, I'm okay with it for now.
Yeah,
but I hope it just doesn't become the wildcard rule where it's just people are just on the show. Like there's no rules to follow. Like they seem like they have a little bit more of a grasp, and they're not going to repeat history with this brand to brand invitational. In my opinion,
I don't mind. Like, I don't mind mixing it up a little bit. Obviously, I know you're a brand split guy. I'm a brand split guy myself. I don't want to see, and I wasn't a wild card rule guy, but I don't think that. I think that the idea was kind of solid with the wild card rule. It was just they jumped the shark.
Yeah, they didn't follow the rules of their own rules.
Yeah, like they set out the rules, and then like literally like in like one night they broke the rules.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't want to see it be like a huge thing. No, I know it's probably just a ratings thing for right now, because I know if you're a ratings shark like most of Twitter is every couple of days. You'll know that the ratings aren't great right now, and I'm not surprised because there's really nothing going on. I think people assume there's a couple things. First off, the people like the Vince Russos of the world that are like, oh man, Raw doesn't pull in the numbers that I used to pull in. that's never gonna. You're never gonna get those numbers again.
And because TV doesn't get that number anymore because people wait to watch shit now.
No shows get that number anymore. There's so much streaming ability that, that's obviously diverting from just watching regular cable television.
Watch when you want, not when you're told.
Yeah. And you can also just go back and watch it on your own time. Exactly. And then people are like, oh yeah, people are expecting the ratings to go through the roof because there's no other sports on. But like, that's not how I saw it happening. I don't think people are like watching TV right now. I think people are, just sort of like not doing really much of anything. But I don't think that people are gonna. I don't think you're gonna have some guy who's never watched wrestling in his life start
watching wrestling with no fans. I wouldn't tell people if they asked me to watch wrestling right now. I'd be like, just wait a few more months, and then when fans start to come back into play, then watch wrestling with all your heart. But I don't think wrestling, there's actually someone that I've been talking to on Twitter who stopped watching wrestling, and was kind of just like, it's not really my thing, and then kind of started coming back into it, and he's just like, it's different without fans, but like, because he's obviously accustomed to wrestling, he's enjoying it, but he goes, I couldn't imagine wrestling being great for a newcomer right now. And I'll be like, well, it probably wouldn't be. I'm just in it because I'm in it. You know what I mean? So
it would definitely be weird to walk into right now.
Mm-hmm. But they've done their best, and I'm still genuinely enjoying wrestling.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
but I mean, it's certainly not, ideal.
No, and there's nothing you could really do. I mean, you can't fix the world with a snap of your fingers, and you can't bring a couple million people to your television show overnight. They'll probably never reach those numbers again. They shouldn't be trying to reach like the late 90s numbers. They should just be focused on just putting out good stuff for the people that are watching. You still have a pretty sizable fan base.
And Raw's been really good lately. Raw has been genuinely really good. There's a lot of good stuff happening on Raw ever since like, I want to say like the road to WrestleMania has been really good. And then Raw's been consistent. SmackDown's dropped a little. Other than the Sonya Mandy stuff, I really haven't loved SmackDown.
I mean, I'm not really feeling the Braun Bray thing.
I'm not either.
I wasn't. We didn't really touch on it. We were talking about Money in the Bank. They had a fine little match. It was kind of weird though.
It was my toilet break, to be honest.
Yeah, the dynamic of it was weird because like for literally all but like a minute of it, they just basically had a regular wrestling match.
And it didn't.
And then at the end, Braun put the black mask on and did all that.
I like that. I was like, that's cool. I did like that, but that was honestly I'm going to go on Twitter. I'm going to have some food. I'm going to go take a pee.
It wasn't really anything special. I'm not like the biggest Braun Strowman fan. I kind of wish he wasn't champion.
Me too.
I wish Bray never dropped the belt, but
well, that's a conversation for a different day, I guess. But I don't know. There's something about that element between those two that just, I mean, if this was going to happen, I wish they built Braun up a little bit more with the championship and then have him fight Bray, because I don't know. It'd be as much as I don't like Braun. I think I said this on my predictions stream with Mags last week. As much as I don't like Braun, it'd be silly to have him just not be champion. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a waste of time. A waste of all of our time if he just had one defense and then it was like, see ya. Like, he's got to hold this for a little while.
And it would be such a slap in the face to even to Bray, because you're basically if Braun wins the belt at Mania and drops it immediately, it basically says like, oh, we just wanted to have that Goldberg moment, and then we're gonna get the belt right back to Bray. That 100%. Sucks. That Goldberg moment literally was terrible.
100%. I agree with you completely. There's not too much I really want to touch on. I think we've touched on pretty much everything. Wrestling is in, I think, especially in the NXT thing and even to the main roster to a certain degree, I'm really enjoying wrestling. There's obviously elements that I'm like, I don't really care about, like we just talked about, but I don't know. I'm in a good spot with wrestling at the moment where I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's good. I'm glad. I mean, wrestling, and I made no bones about it. After the last Saudi show, I was sort of feeling and I think you kind of were feeling a little disillusioned, right? little off with wrestling because the Goldberg thing and just wasn't a good show in general. WrestleMania though, it's crazy that this period of time where I'm sure you're losing a lot of wrestling fans because the crowd not being there is tough, but it's sort of like reaffirmed it how much I love this shit because you're sort of getting back to base. And I know in a lot of ways you're trying new things, and in a lot of ways you're getting back to basics. You're just telling a simple story, and you're not worried about what the crowd is swaying, or not worried about the crowd turning a story. Basically, you're allowed to do what you want to do as a writer and as a performer too.
No, definitely, I agree with you completely. I think it's I think we're just focusing on what we're being presented instead of all the distractions. We have no distractions. It's just what's on our screen. So, I mean, that's a good silver lining to everything, is that I'm probably paying more attention to the words being spoken and the actual action in the ring instead of relying on everything else. So, I mean, that's a good thing. But that'll kind of do us for this week. We will be, of course, back next Friday. You'll catch all my other shows that are going on in between then. Kev, I kind of said this at the start of the week on the Josh Robinson. Oh, hey, did you listen to the Josh Robinson show?
I did.
We didn't drag Gabriella too much.
No, I know. I know. It was. I thought it was very fair. And obviously, two of my favorite people in the world, Josh and Queen, hashing out one of my favorite things in the world, High School Musical. You can't be mad at it. I enjoyed it. It was.
we don't like Gabriella.
No, I know, and I
we
knew
don't
it.
like Chad either.
That's fine.
Oh, you didn't care about that.
Yeah, I've honestly never really had much of an opinion on Chad. I think he's a little melodramatic, but that would be kind of silly to say in a series built on melodrama. So,
well, yeah, true. But yeah,
it's a bad argument to make.
Me and Queen aren't fans of Gabriella. She's problematic. But you can listen to that show for a nice little plug. You can go back and listen to the Josh Robinson show from this week with Queen. It was a hoot to talk about High School Musical. If you're into that kind of stuff, of course. Even if you're not, I feel like we're still entertaining enough to keep you interested.
Yeah, it's the banter, honestly. If you're fans of Josh and Queen, I don't think you necessarily need to be a fan of High School Musical to at least enjoy the show. Not telling you, you might not want to go out and watch the 3 movies in the show back to back.
You can. No one's. Hey, go ahead.
I think people would appreciate the passion and the back and forth is fun.
Yeah, we're always like that when it comes to High School Musical. But I said at the start of the show, what I was trying to cycle to here is that, sometimes I obviously produce a lot of content and I'm only going to grow instead of, I'm not going to stop any, and I enjoy doing all the shows that I do and all the Twitch streams that I do and YouTube stuff and everything that I do. I love to bits, but sometimes you're going to see me take a break from here and then, just plan. Nothing will be wrong. I'm just taking a break to kind of fuel up because I feel like it's good for my own sanity. Otherwise, I'll just continuously be going and I'll never stop and I'll just be kind of like going insane. So if you see me take a break from here, I'll always give plenty of notice. I'll always be like, I'm taking a break this week. But sometimes I just need to charge up my batteries because I will run flat. It's
good to take a break every now and again, especially with the sheer amount of content you put out on a weekly basis is more than most in our little sphere, I'd say. Kudos to you for doing it. I mean, it is crazy you keep all that shit lined up. But yeah, and a break is nice every now and again. And hey, when we come back from the break, all those people out there jonesing for Reverb, all those people jonesing for the Josh Robinson show, and everything else are even happier because, like I said earlier, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Iconic. Oh, I'm so happy they're back. Oh my god. That's a really weird soundbite that I hope people don't save, is that me just going, ugh. I was making some noises, though. Those videos are on my Twitter. Oh my god, I was making some noises at the IIconics. I don't even know what was coming out of my body. I was like, what is these sounds. I've never made these sounds before. I was just so genuinely happy. Like,
I'll be
genuinely.
honest, I don't know what was being said. I don't even know
I
what's
don't
coming
know.
out of your body.
I kind of just blacked out, and I was like, what is happening? But next week, I'm going to be a wreck. Because if they don't win, Bliss and Nikki, they're not going to be my favorite people.
No, Bliss and Nikki have no shot with Josh Robinson.
No shot. I like Bliss and Nikki. I'll say it right now. Bliss and Nikki, I like you. I like you quite a lot. But next week, you are my nemesis. You are both my enemies, and I want to see you get taken down. No questions. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll go live for Raw or something next week, so everyone can either watch me cry or cry, because there's going to be no in between. I'm either going to cry out of happiness or cry out of complete sadness. So
oh my
god. But that will do us for this week. Continue, of course, to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Make sure you're following on your favorite platform, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you're kind of listening this to. Of course, if you're an Apple Podcast, make sure to rate this podcast 5 stars on iTunes. Leave a nice little review. It actually does help in the algorithm of Apple. So make sure you do that. And of course, you'll catch us next Friday for Wrestling Reverb. You'll catch all my other shows throughout the week. Just go to my Twitter. You'll see the pinned tweet of what I'm doing for the week. And until next week, we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.